With the start of free agency, the world of the NFL begins to move quickly, and many player moves bring significant changes to a team's direction. One of these impactful changes was the departure of James Mitchell from the Detroit Lions to the Carolina Panthers. The tight end, although he hadn't yet established himself as a major star, had shown signs of becoming an important piece for Detroit's future. Now, with his move to the Panthers, the question arises, what does this mean for the Lions, who lost a piece of their promising 2025 roster, and what can Mitchell bring to his new team in Carolina? The impact of his departure is not just a numerical loss, but also a strategic change that may shape Detroit's offensive future. James Mitchell's story in Detroit began with high expectations, as is often the case with many players selected in the draft, but his journey has had its ups and downs. In his first season, Mitchell wasn't able to establish himself as a standout player, but he also didn't have the chance to shine consistently. He came into the team with a promise of contributing both in the running and passing games due to his ability to block and get open for passes. However, despite showing flashes of talent and potential, he couldn't stand out as much as other tight ends from his draft class. That said, this doesn't mean that the Lions didn't see value in him. On the contrary, Mitchell played an important role, and his departure, although not entirely surprising, will definitely be felt. When he announced his move to the Panthers, many Lions fans wondered whether this transaction could have been a strategic mistake. While the team does have options and young players to fill the void left by Mitchell, he represented a strategic piece that the Lions had started to develop for the future. Detroit's offense, which had been evolving over the seasons, now loses an alternative in the passing game, a player who, with time and more experience, could have been valuable in adding depth and versatility to the team. Mitchell's departure is, in a way, a reminder of how unforgiving the NFL is. Players with great potential don't always meet the expectations set for them, but that doesn't mean their contribution to a team isn't important, even if it's in a quieter role. As the dust settles on Mitchell's departure, it's important to consider how this shift in the roster could affect the Lions' offensive strategy. While Detroit may have other promising players at tight end, Mitchell's unique blend of size, athleticism, and potential for growth made him a flexible asset for the team's playbook. The Lions' offense, under the guidance of their offensive coordinator, was building an identity that featured tight ends as integral pieces of both blocking schemes and passing routes. Now the pressure is on Detroit to find someone who can not only fill Mitchell's shoes, but perhaps bring even more to the table in terms of production and impact. This task will likely influence Detroit's decision-making in free agency, where they may look to acquire a more experienced player or invest in a younger prospect with similar upside. Now, with James Mitchell heading to the Panthers, what does this mean for his new team? The Carolina Panthers, who have been slowly rebuilding, see in Mitchell an opportunity to acquire a young tight end who still has a lot to prove but could bring the energy needed to boost their offense. With Carolina looking to grow and elevate their status, Mitchell could play a significant role. The Panthers, who are still seeking to establish themselves as competitive contenders in the NFC, need players who can contribute not only physically but also bring fresh energy and new dimensions to the offense. Mitchell, with his ability to adapt to the game and versatility, could be a key piece in this process. In Carolina, he'll have the chance to be more than just a supporting option. He could take on a more central role as one of the key weapons in the passing game, and his experience in Detroit, though limited, could serve as a crucial boost to his development. From the Panthers' perspective, Mitchell's acquisition also symbolizes a step forward in creating a diverse and multifaceted offensive strategy. As the team works to develop their young quarterback and establish a more dynamic passing attack, Mitchell could provide the perfect blend of blocking skills and receiving potential. Carolina is in need of weapons who can create mismatches against opposing defenses, and Mitchell has the potential to be just that, a player who can line up on the line of scrimmage or flex out wide, giving the offense flexibility and unpredictability. This could ultimately allow Mitchell to shine in a role that he wasn't fully able to explore with the Lions, where the tight end position was sometimes overshadowed by other key playmakers. Mitchell's focus, which didn't allow him to establish himself fully in Detroit, now shifts to the Panthers, where he has the chance to prove his worth on a team that will likely be more patient with his growth and perhaps allow him to have a greater impact. In Carolina, he joins a team in the process of rebuilding, and his presence could be a positive addition to an offense that is still seeking consistency. If he can adapt to the new offensive system and take advantage of the opportunities presented to him, we could see Mitchell reach a much higher level of play with the Panthers than was possible in Detroit. Furthermore, with his move to a new team, Mitchell will have the chance to reinvent himself, learn from new coaches, and perfect his role, which could make all the difference in his career. But the impact of this change for the Detroit Lions is significant, not just in terms of talent but also strategically. When a team loses a young and promising player like Mitchell, the team must reconsider its options to fill that void. Detroit now finds itself in a position where it must seek alternatives for the tight end position. This kind of transaction can be painful because it highlights the need to rebuild and adapt quickly, especially with the 2025 season on the horizon. Brad Holmes, the Lions general manager, is certainly already looking for ways to strengthen the position and give Jared Goff, the team's quarterback, more options on offense. Losing Mitchell does put extra pressure on Holmes to make smart moves in free agency or in the draft to reinforce the roster, not just at tight end, but in other areas where the team needs more depth. In addition to the tight end position, the Lions will also need to address the broader construction of their offense as they continue to evolve. While Mitchell's absence will undoubtedly be felt, it could also prompt a reassessment of the overall philosophy behind the offensive unit. With new faces potentially entering the fold through free agency or the draft, Detroit may lean into a more pass-heavy attack or explore different player combinations to keep defenses on their toes. This will require careful planning from the coaching staff and an ability to integrate new talent quickly. The Lions are building something that could be truly competitive in the NFC, but they must keep refining their strategy to stay ahead of the curve. Moreover, Mitchell's departure could affect the dynamics of Detroit's offense, as the tight end position has become increasingly valued in modern NFL offenses, where the passing game is key. The ability to have a versatile tight end who can block effectively and also be a viable option in the passing game is a key piece for any team. Now, Detroit needs to find someone who can effectively fill that role, whether through signing a veteran who brings experience or perhaps through a young talent who can stand out quickly. Detroit's team, with its promising young core, may use the free agency window to target players who bring fresh perspectives and skills to the roster. So what do you think? Will James Mitchell's departure impact the Lions and the Panthers as much as it seems? How do you see the future of the Lions in the 2025 season? Stay tuned for more analysis and keep up with all the player movement and updates on the Lions throughout the year. If you enjoyed this video and want to keep up with everything related to the Detroit Lions, make sure to follow our channel Lions News Fan Report for more exclusive content and detailed analysis like this.